Welcome to another Motortown post-event race commentary. Today we got the second set of Gravel Gallop, which is an off-road slash rally event using smaller sports cars with the inline 4 engines. So decently powerful, but really not too much, and yeah, all either front or rear wheel drive. I don't think there's an all-wheel drive vehicle in this particular subclass. We are getting started on the first track here, which is A-Wall in reverse. Once again, the better layout for this track. With all the jumps and everything, it's just so much more stable going in reverse than the regular direction. And yeah, we got quite a few people coming in for this event. Actually, it's like 7 according to the list on the side. And we should get going in a moment here. I'm recording the commentary quite a few weeks after the event. I wasn't even sure if this is still something that I haven't made the commentary on. Turns out I made the commentary on the first set, but not the second one. So, time to catch up with that. And yeah, here we are off to the races. 3, 2, 1, start. I'm starting decently far forward, second or third place, but didn't really last too long. I had a little run in with somebody and just completely got spun out. Since the Fortum is a rear engine vehicle, it doesn't have too much weight in the front, so it's somewhat easy to just bump it around there. So I'm now in last position, but at least not too far off, and that little bit of body damage shouldn't really be too much of a factor here. But yeah, maybe I shouldn't have turned in that much, just trying to stay on the track and not go into the barrier on the inside. Kind of funny watching everybody in front of me jump, and also Zeki apparently missed a checkpoint. I spun out, could have tried to maybe stay in front of Zeki and just get myself straightened out, but decided to just wait for them to pass and then go at it again. Here we got the first big jump, which is a lot bigger in the other direction, but with this one it's just a nice drop down. A bit rough, but nothing too crazy. The other direction is of course much more of a bigger jump, and very often had the side effect of turning the car upside down after landing, but yeah, not this way around. Trying to set myself up on the inside for the next turn and also stay somewhat straight here, but you gotta slow down a little bit in order to make the jump work well. Finally enough, we are going to do the same track today with another set of cars which is much faster, much more powerful. Looking forward to seeing that, and I'm just trying to get this one recorded right before I jump into the event. And spun out again. I don't know why sometimes it feels like the car doesn't handle the same. I talked about that with some other people and they also feel like sometimes the cars feel a bit less responsive or something like that, I don't know. But also I can say for certain that when getting into the race, no matter how much I train, I drive the car differently. It's just not the same from the circumstances, so I don't know. Raging right in front of me, so it's not all lost. I mean, he's faster than me, so he might get some more positions. But I might also be able to swim in his wake and get to the front as well, who knows. Again, this is a few weeks after the fact and I have no idea how these races went. I know I tried something different compared to the first set in the second race, but that may or may have not gone that well. But I remember the first set being particularly messy on that track, so shouldn't be too bad. Seems like we are going to do 5 laps here. Yeah, going from 40% to 41, so we should be in the third of 5 laps. And you can just see the chat blowing up with all the different jump distances, because there's just quite a few minor jumps here and also a few major ones. So my wheels are leaving the ground quite often. But yeah, just looking at the percentages on the left, it doesn't seem like everybody is too far apart, but it's definitely getting to a bit of a stretch here. And once again, spinning out. Kind of the same situation as on the first lap. I don't know if I tuned something about the car in between the sets, if I tried getting the thing set up differently. I think I did change something. I think it may have been a bit too unresponsive before, and I wanted it to be a bit more snappy, and I may have overdone it. But if I recall correctly, there may have been another tuning attempt in between the races, so I may have tried and reined that in again. But with this one, I'm just kind of stuck with something that doesn't drive exactly how I want it to. Coming around to the start-finish line again. But yeah, at this point I'm pretty far back. I've only got Zeki right in front of me, but everybody else is quite far away comparatively. So it might be a battle for 6th position, if I can manage to handle the car. But yeah, it's more of a fight between me and my machine here than anything else on the track. I try to carry a lot of speed through the corner. And hopefully this time around I managed to not spin out. Yeah, finally, well done, me. Back to the big jump. And yeah, meanwhile, the leaders are already on their way to the last lap, so we are really making for some back markers right here, but at least we're not going to get lapped, I don't think. Again, trying to set up for the next turn in the jump already. Kinda getting carried to the outside a bit, and you don't really want to be on the grassy parts. They are slower than the gravel. Okay, the final lap. Yeah, I don't think too much will be happening here. So another topic I want to quickly mention is that I had to take a bit of a break. It might still be going on. I'm not dealing too well with the hot weather here recently. Also, some people in the house might be renovating or something, so I tried making some recordings, but they got very rudely interrupted, so yeah. Oh, this time it might be Zeki who almost spins out. But yeah, there are a few more things that I want to record. I got a few more events lined up that still need the post-event race commentary. But I'll have to figure out how and when to do that. There's another long event that was made a week ago. So that's an hour and 40 minutes long. Single race. I got it uploaded on YouTube. I also made some chapters so that I can use that for the recording, but I'm not entirely sure how long that will be, and I'm gonna have to find a good time to do that. But yeah, that's coming, and I also want to try and make a tuning guide. That was one of the videos that got interrupted by the renovation sounds. Don't want to have the drill going on in the background. But yeah, that's gonna be coming at some point. It will likely be a two-parter, because there's just so much to talk about. But we have to see about that. Right now what we have going on here is the second track. And this time around I remember that I actually have a few other cars in this subclass. And I decided to go with the Panther. It may have not been a good idea if I remember correctly, but it was definitely an idea, and I don't think we thought made for the best car here. I could have maybe gone for the road version or the rallycross version, but having something with road tires is definitely recommended here. The gravel parts are interesting and all that, but they don't really pose the biggest challenge on this track. But yeah, we made it through the first sector. We are now trying to do the gas station part. Trying to not let myself go past the checkpoint there. Was a bit too far on the inside. And now on to the most challenging corner of the entire track. This thing is a doozy. Like, I still don't fully know how to approach this one. It's tough. The checkpoint placement doesn't make it any easier, because with the second checkpoint there, that means you really have to stay on track. You cannot just get the one for the main corner and then just go off-road. But yeah, that was also what I tried to force there, that people actually have to take the corner properly. I could maybe see myself make an update to maybe widen this checkpoint, but as you can see right here, if you're not being dumb about the corner, you can easily make it. But that may also depend on what tires you are using. Although once again, I think road tires are the way to go here. It's not even a competition. The gravel parts are fast and smooth. They don't really need their off-road tires in order for you to perform there. Although maybe I could have been a bit better on the braking point there. That's definitely a slow corner going back onto the road, and not a fast one that you can just fly through. And another spin out. I might have to try retuning the car or something, but the Panther is always a bit feisty. Trying to take the corner properly. This is really something where you need to be on the outside until you get the right point, and then just go straight for the apex. This didn't work out, if you didn't notice. So yeah, I'm kinda in the back now. I don't think there's really too much to do here. Let's just go ahead by a little bit. We are now in the third lap. But yeah, this is not as catastrophic as the last one, but it's also just not really going too well. Yeah, that's a bit too much of unsettling the car there. I need to find a smoother line. Tried to get onto the gas earlier, but it just didn't really go too well. Almost spun out there. Maybe I should really go and widen up that checkpoint. I think it's important so that people know where to go, but it shouldn't really be a limiting factor on how wide you can go there. If you kinda miss the turn-in point a bit, it shouldn't be a case where you miss the checkpoint and just have to reverse back into it. Yeah, the grass for some reason in this area has a bit of a problem loading. So I think that's happening on most of laps that I just go into that area and it's just completely blank. Milk is already coming around for the final lap, it seems, and I'm barely in the second to last one. I don't know if I mentioned it before, but initially I want to have track go in the other direction. Just heard of that with transition from the gravel onto the road, there's always a bit of a ledge there, and in the other direction, at least one of them unsettled the car most of the time. So basically, if you went as fast as you thought you could, you would just go flying. And it wasn't even on one of the cornery bits either, so there was no real justification for slowing down. It would just randomly yeet you off the track, and that wasn't fun. But at least I made it into the final lap without anything happening. Until that happened. But yeah, I think there's nothing really going on besides that. I tried a different braking tactic, didn't work either. Still having to figure out that corner there. But let's bring it back around to the finish line and then go on to the third track. I don't think there was much worth showing here, while or much reason to let it run out in full. Yeah, I might have to delete the track. Yeah, if only I would really be that that kind of guy. Deleting my track just because I'm not good at it. Should have tested it more before publishing it, that would be the move. And yeah, on to the final track in the quarry. And here we go. Starting in pole can only go so well here, but if I manage to run away from everybody else for a bit, just use the fact that nobody is in front of me, make full use of the track width, then I might be able to do something here. If I remember correctly, in the first set I had decent pace, so I might be able to capitalize on this one. Bit careful around the blind corners here. Coming around the center, and yeah, I was hoping to maybe slide out a bit more and get into the checkpoint like that, but yeah, I had to do a little awkward maneuver. And now Zeki is in front of me, that's just brilliant. Also not the best line through here, going a bit further to the outside would have allowed me to take much more speed through the turn. But hey, third position, I mean I'm slowly losing places here and there, but it's not too bad. Bit of a shortcut here. And those two seem to have a little bit of a run in there, and at least I'm now back in second. Yeah, Milk is falling way back, which is good for me because Milk is one of the faster people here. One of the OGs. Was already well established when I started playing on TWL back in the day. Like my first steps from single player into the multiplayer environment of Motortown way before I made the first video on it. And yeah, Omni Hill also managed to sneak their way into first place. And Omni Hill is incredibly fast, so this might be something that he just runs away with. Runs away, whatever. Okay, I think it's not too much longer until we are done with the first lap. It seems to be like a 2-lap race. Given that we go around the entirety of the quarry, that's kind of a given that we would have a fewer laps on this one than the other tracks, which were much shorter. But yeah, so far this has been going pretty well. I don't really ever expect to be finishing in first place, but being able to keep a decent position is kind of nice. I'm also happy to report that the little bump in the road that we just witnessed, that thing will be gone next update. I had another track idea for the quarry, and yeah, that definitely needs to be gone for that, which is why I made a report on it. Did I mention this already in the last one? I think I did, I don't know. It's always a bit tough finding good topics to talk about when you get into the second set. I'm not really sure if I want to keep making commentary on both sets, but I have to figure out how to do it. And that's the end of the first lap. Final lap is upon us. And I'm doing pretty well overall. I'm right behind Zeki. Vormir is not too far away from me. Omni Hill definitely out of reach now, not only because of the distance, but much more because of how fast that person is. So yeah, don't expect to be catching up to them anymore. Fifth position is Milk, who might be able to get a bit closer, but who knows. Okay, trying to stay on the inside here while also getting the checkpoint. Should have maybe tried to get more speed through the corner. And maybe going a tiny bit too far to the outside there. This is not supposed to be a bank turn. And Vom is catching up with me. Zeki is driving away, so this isn't going great. Also not too sure how good that little shortcut is. I mean, it's certainly the more straightforward line, but once again, there is a speed difference between the side of the path thing here and the main gravel path. Which is also why it's not too recommended going into this sector here, or just the area between the paths. And now we are back on the climb after getting to the lowest part of the quarry, or at least the lowest part that is included in the track. I don't know how I managed to do that, but yeah, I certainly missed a checkpoint there. That wasn't great. Was staying way too close to the inside, and I should have just been closer to the side of a checkpoint there. I was just really locked in on that on that path for a moment, on that line that I was taking. So I'm now all the way down in 6th position, but potentially with the option to gain back a place. If I can get it off raging, and that's a big, big if. Yeah, we are approaching the end of the race, so not really too much left to do here. There's one more hairpin and a few more faster turns coming up, but nothing too crazy. So unless raging gets into that big bumpy dip in the road and spins out there or something, I don't really have too much to hope for here anymore. I was at least able to use it as a bit of banking there, so that wasn't the worst line. Yeah, I don't think there will be too much happening here anymore. Milk is also overheating there, so potentially, maybe we can get some places here, but I doubt it. I mean, Milk must be slowing down quite significantly for the overheating to stop, but it might not be enough for anybody to catch up here. And yeah, Milk carries it home, followed by Raging, followed by me, and that's the end of that. Luggage was also somewhat close by behind me, but didn't manage to catch up, so I mean, there were like 9 seconds, so wasn't too close after all. I was just looking at the percentage. But here we are, that's the end of Gravel Gallop. Fun event. And once again with these inline fours, it's just a nice combo with these cars. Although, after testing for the other event, and I'll talk more about that doing that commentary, I found that maybe going with the 180 horsepower V8 might also be a good combination. So maybe I'll try that out for the next Sports Retro event, getting the one of the smaller, slower V8s put into these cars and see how that goes. But yeah, that's a story for another day. For this one, I gotta say thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. See you guys next time. And until then, have a good one and bye bye.